Stephen Schlepmo here to teach you how to make one of the most delicious, nutritious desserts, breakfast, snacks in the world. It's called Stu Can't Stop Bark. It's dark chocolate macadamia nut bark, named after this dog Stu, who can't seem to stop barking when even the smallest thing comes in our yard. And when you eat this bark, you won't be able to stop eating it. It's a very simple recipe. All you really need is some dark chocolate, macadamia nuts, maybe some other nuts to mix in, coconut oil, and some optional stuff if you want coconut flakes and apple bits. But I go with the 85% dark chocolate. If you're lucky enough to go online and get primal chocolate, absolutely fantastic. Trader Joe's has an inexpensive brand, but go for 85%, don't fool around. So the first thing we do is we take half of the chocolate, we come over here to, what do they call a double broiler or something, where you heat the bottom pan. It's just so you don't burn the chocolate. So you get the bottom one boiling, and then you put the chocolate in the pan on top. And it will melt gradually. As it gets near melted, we're going to throw some coconut oil in there to make it more liquidy, and then pour it onto the mixture over here. This mixture is simply breaking up the rest of the chocolate by hand. If you can look close up, I'm just crunching it up. I'm not worrying about exactness, but I just want to break it up into nice chunks. Then we're going to pour the melted chocolate in here over all this before we finally make our last step is the bark. Then with the nuts, what we need to do is get a mini blender or puree machine. So I have this blender attachment. You can get the mini Cuisinarts or even a big size Cuisinart. Put it on there, and we're going to throw some nuts in, macadamia nuts mostly, for all their health benefits as described in the Primal Blueprint. So I'm going to go with a nice scoop of those and add a few mix of pecans and walnuts. So now we have a nice stack of nuts, and we're going to blend these up into a little bit. So just for fun, I'm going to do the optional, some apple bits. Gives it a nice little taste of crunchy apple. If you feel like it, totally optional. It can just be nuts. I'm also going to throw in some coconut flakes, since I don't have fine coconut. But we'll throw those on, blend them up with the nuts. And now we have this beautiful blended mixture that we're going to pour in with half the chocolate into the bowl. Next step is the melted chocolate on top. So one moment we'll go check on the chocolate. And as you can see, the chocolate's melting up nicely. I'm going to throw in a few generous scoops of coconut oil. For those of you measuring back at home, that could be a third of a cup. And get this thing into a complete liquid form to pour onto the bowl, the mix. So you can see it's pretty well liquid. There's a few little chunks. I'm just making sure to get it all stirred up. And now it's about ready to pour onto the mixture and just stir it up until it's all in there. And hopefully the consistency is like batter where it's really easy to stir. Okay, so get this all stirred together nicely. And when we're ready, we're going to pour it into the casserole tray, whatever you call it. Get it all in there. And we're going to get it all smooth. So there's our bark preparation. Okay, so next thing is we're going to put it into the fridge for an hour or two until it's rock hard. Just unopened, uncovered. Okay, this thing's been in the fridge for about 2 hours, and now it's time to cut it up into bark. It's not an easy job. It has to be the perfect consistency. So what I usually do is take it out of the fridge, let it sit for about 5 minutes, not too long, and then get a tool such as this, a straight edge cutter. I got this on Amazon. I don't know what it's called, but something similar to that. A good spatula might work too, but I like this guy because you can just come in here and see. I'm going to cut a nice line, and it takes a little bit of pressure, and it makes a nice clean cut. If you happen to cut and the bark gets smushy and clumpy instead of in one piece, then it hasn't been in the fridge long enough. So we're going to cut through this whole thing. Cut. I know, we're almost done. So now it's all cut up. It's still very cold, so it's time to quickly put into a plastic bag. And I like to store this in the fridge. You cannot store it at room temperature, it'll melt. Okay? Meanwhile, while I'm putting it in, always taste one to make sure it came out perfect. And straight for dessert, a nice little bowl. Or you can get creative, put a little whipped cream down, and then the remnants, the leftovers, sprinkle on. Delicious breakfast dessert. Thank you for watching. Stephen Schlepmo and the dark chocolate macadamia nut stew can't stop bark.